The film begins with the autumn festival scene in Shanghai. This kind-hearted guy, Ali, is struggling to escape the pursuit of the Sao gang. It turned out that Ali betrayed his boss Jin Si. Just as Ali was about to be shot, a mysterious woman named Luna suddenly appeared out of thin air and blocked the fatal blow for him. Shortly after, the police arrived, causing the attackers to flee in panic. Ali quickly took Luna to the hospital. However, he had no idea who she was or why she risked her life to save him. She was out of danger, but she fell into a severe coma. Eager to learn her identity, he searched her bag and found a notebook. Revealing her name and occupation, she was a manga artist. Ali noticed something strange. The characters in Luna's drawings looked just like himself and Jin Si, and the events depicted matched recent occurrences. After graduating from the police academy, Ali was secretly placed in Jin Si's within the Sao gang to investigate the evidence of his smuggling of opium and arms. Unexpectedly, Ali drew a death lottery and was asked by Jin Si to assassinate the boss of the opposing gang, Long Chi. Fortunately, his boss, Inspector Huang, agreed to cooperate with him. As planned, Ali stood on the corner as planned, waiting for Long Chi to come out of the mahjong hall. But Ali ran into his former police academy classmate, Aja, whom he used to bully. Now, Aja had his chance for revenge. In public, he humiliated Ali by stripping off his coat to check for contraband and even made him polish his shoes. Ali deliberately provoked Aja, hoping he would arrest him. When he saw Ali's fortune stick fall to the ground, he realized Ali was the unlucky one assigned to kill Long Chi. Wanting to see how Ali would do, Aja let him go. Later, Ali met his adopted sister, who was then taken by Jin Si. Knowing Jin Si was using her to threaten him, Ali panicked and contacted Inspector Huang, the only person who knew his true identity as an undercover agent. However, Mr. Huang had been in a car accident and passed away. When Ali entered the gang's base, another group was also there to eliminate Long Chi. Forced to flee together, Ali realized Long Chi was also an undercover agent planted by Officer Huang. They decided to work together to rescue Pei Yun, staging a fake death scene. He dragged Long Chi's corpse to confront Jin Si, only to find Jin Si making love with Pei Yun. Pei Yun unexpectedly defended him, saying she didn't want his brother interfering in her affairs anymore. At that moment, Long Chi suddenly shot and killed Jin Si. They quickly escaped through a window. In a narrow alley, Long Chi confessed that Officer Huang's death was connected to him. He no longer wanted to return to a normal life. He enjoyed being a gang leader. Now that Jin Si was dead, Long Chi could take over his territory. He even offered Ali a share if he joined him, but Ali was angry and refused. Long Chi declared, shooting at Ali. Fortunately, Ali was wearing a bulletproof vest and remained unharmed. Just then, a signboard from a nearby building fell on Long Chi, killing him instantly. Horrified, they fled the scene. After reading Luna's manga, Ali couldn't help but wonder how she knew the whole story. Ali's undercover mission was finally over. Chief Inspector Zhang fulfilled Inspector Huang's promise and reinstated Ali's position as a police officer. However, he was assigned to work in the archives, a desk job he had no interest in. Yet he had no choice but to obey orders. Meanwhile, Luna remained in a coma. The doctor advised Ali that talking to her about past events might help wake her up. He picked one at random, Luna's story. Unsure if it was about Luna herself, his curiosity drove him to keep reading. In this story, Luna had a tragic past, an orphan adopted at the age of 7 by foster parents. They treated her poorly and, when she grew up, sent her to a brothel. After finding true love, she got married. At that moment, a group of people wanted to kidnap the bride. However, they did not know that she had previously been trained as an undercover assassin. Despite this dark life, she longed for happiness. Under her guidance, Bullet wrote an incredible story, became a best-selling author, and Luna remained by his side, living the life she had always wished for. However, Bullet was not satisfied. Now that there were other successful writers, he wanted to create another masterpiece but struggled to do so. Desperate, he turned to Luna for help, realizing that he was only using her and never truly loved her. Refusing to be manipulated, she tries to leave, but Bullet is enraged and immediately shoots her. As Ali read this, a missing persons case from recently came to mind. The missing person's name was Zhang Baobao, and the person who reported it was Mu Shui Feng, a writer. The similarities were uncanny. Acting on his intuition, he reported his findings. Sure enough, Alai discovered Bao Bao. They brought Shui Feng in for questioning. His relationship with Bao Bao mirrored the story Luna had written. Bao Bao had helped him create his works, but he had only used her and refused to acknowledge their relationship. With the case solved, Chief Inspector Zhang was pleased. Alai returned to the hospital to check on Luna. When he flipped through her notebooks again, he was stunned. Every page was blank. Luna was still in a coma. As usual, Alai sat by her bedside, reading stories from her comics. The more he read, the more amazed he felt. How could a complete stranger like Luna suddenly appear in his life and seemingly predict real-life crimes through her comics? The next day, the police were investigating a series of brutal midnight murders. The chief inspector initially wanted Alai to take charge of the case, but Ajah seized the opportunity instead. Alai didn't mind and continued his routine of reading to Luna at the hospital. This time, the comic book contained a story that had never appeared before, which Alai found strange. As he flipped to the first page, he realized it was related to the midnight murder case under investigation. The main characters in the story were Jia Hua, a sailor, and Chun Ying, a doctor, who were lovers. However, Jia Hua had gone missing for over a year, leaving Chun Ying waiting for his return. One night, after finishing surgery, Chun Ying missed the last bus and had to walk home with a colleague. They were unaware that someone was following them. A patrolling officer noticed a suspicious figure lurking nearby and started chasing him. Feeling uneasy because of the recent murder cases, Chun Ying hurriedly pulled her colleague along. A few days later, she and her colleagues went to a dance hall. Chun Ying didn't dance and instead sat at the bar drinking alone. A former classmate who had once liked her approached, but she had no interest in him and ignored him. He secretly spiked her drink with a drug and left. Chun Ying was about to drink the spiked beverage when Jia Hua, pretending to be a drunkard, bumped into her, spilling the drink. Members of the Sao gang chasing him spotted him, leading to a fight where Jia Hua was injured but managed to escape. Chun Ying, now drunk, stumbled out of the dance hall and encountered her classmate, who attempted to take advantage of her. Jia Hua arrived just in time and took her away. He led her to a limousine and asked the driver to take them to a hotel. Once Chun Ying had slept, Jia Hua went to the bathroom to tend to his wounds. When she woke up in the dimly lit room, she couldn't recognize the figure before her. Only when Jia Hua turned on the light did she realize it was her long-lost lover. Overcome with emotion, she embraced him, accidentally touching his wound, just as she was about to treat him. There was a knock at the door. It was the driver. Claiming they had left a bag in the car, Chun Ying unsuspectingly opened the door and was immediately attacked. Despite his injuries, Jia Hua tried to fight off the attacker, but he was overpowered, and both were soon tied up. Before the killer could make his move, members of the Sao gang arrived. They had been hunting Jia Hua, mistakenly believing he had stolen their opium shipment. In reality, Jia Hua had unknowingly been tricked into smuggling contraband disguised as wine. A fierce battle broke out between the gangsters. To protect Chun Ying, Jia Hua handled them just in time, but he was gravely wounded. Knowing he wouldn't survive, he pleaded with Chun Ying to take him to their favorite spot, the mountaintop where they used to watch the sunrise. As the sun rose, he finally found peace, passing away in his lover's arms. Reflecting on the midnight murder case, Alai noticed a crucial detail from the comic: the limousine driver at the dance hall. He suspected that the real-life killer might be a driver as well. Acting swiftly, he contacted his colleagues at the police station. Ajah rushed to the dance hall and, sure enough, found the murder weapon in the trunk of a limousine driver's car. The case was solved, and the chief inspector was impressed with Alai's deduction skills. When asked how he obtained the information, he claimed he had a beautiful informant but refused to reveal her identity to protect her. Alai continued to visit Luna. He was very curious by her and this magic book. Today the book was as white as new again. That meant there were no more cases happening around him at the moment. Suddenly the book started to show another story. The protagonist was Yuan San, a man obsessed with science fiction novels. He often dreamed of being trapped in a white room, where he heard voices mocking and tormenting him. His family eventually sent him for psychological treatment. After undergoing hypnosis therapy for a while, his condition improved. He felt as if he had escaped the white room. However, Yuan San believed he had a supernatural ability, teleportation. Whenever he wore a pocket watch, he could instantly move to another location. The problem was that he couldn't control where he appeared. Sometimes, he would find himself in someone else's kitchen sink. But strangely, people around him couldn't see him. One day, Yuan-san unintentionally teleported into his neighbor's house. From his limited perspective, he saw a young woman standing on a chair, seemingly tying something to the ceiling. Without hesitation, he rushed to his neighbor's house, kicked the door open, and tried to rescue her, only to realize it was a misunderstanding. The neighbor was a beautiful ballet dancer. Michelle had simply been changing a light bulb. She was shocked by Yuan-san's sudden intrusion and assumed he had been spying on her. He tried to explain his teleportation ability, but she dismissed him as mentally unstable. Despite this, he became infatuated with Michelle, determined to teleport to her house at will. He practiced relentlessly. Eventually, he succeeded. He could now appear exactly where he wanted. He began secretly observing Michelle's life. One evening, he watched as Michelle celebrated her birthday with friends. He overheard her birthday wish. She hoped it would snow soon. Inspired, Yuan-san went home and worked tirelessly on a small machine that, when activated, released countless cotton flakes, creating the illusion of snowfall. The next day, Michelle received the mysterious snow and assumed it was a gift from her upstairs neighbor. Thinking he was Alan, she excitedly went to his apartment to thank him. However, Alan refused to let her in, insisting he hadn't sent her anything. Michelle playfully pushed the door open, only to be horrified by what she saw. Terrified, she fled back to her apartment. Alan realized she had seen too much and chased after her, intent on silencing her. At that moment, Yuan-san teleported into Michelle's apartment. He saw Alan lunging at her but was unable to intervene immediately due to the limitations of his ability. Desperate, he teleported home, grabbed a fruit knife, and rushed back. Without hesitation, he ran to save Michelle's life. However, instead of thanking him, she screamed in horror, calling Yuan-san a murderer. After analyzing the comic, Ali deduced the exact apartment building depicted in the panels. He rushed to the scene and arrived just in time to witness Yuan-san chasing both Michelle and the injured Alan. Acting quickly, Ali subdued Yuan-san and took him into custody. It was then that the truth emerged. Yuan-san never had teleportation powers. He was an isolated and lonely individual with no friends, spending his days observing the opposite building through a telescope. Everything he had believed about his abilities was a delusion. Alan and Michelle had merely been rehearsing a scene for a theater play when Yuan-san misinterpreted it as an actual attack. Luckily, Ali arrived in time to resolve the matter before the ending was exactly like in Luna's magical book. Ali now became the star of the police force. His colleagues started calling him the one-step detective, because he always arrived at crime scenes ahead of the criminals. But Ali felt guilty. He knew his success wasn't due to skill, but to the mysterious comic book. A new chapter comic appeared. It was a story related to a girl named Lu Meng. She was a famous actress, but she had a stand-in named Xiao Ru. The two looked nearly identical, but Xiao Ru was far more talented at acting. Lu Meng already disliked her and would never allow Xiao Ru to surpass her. To suppress her, Lu Meng deliberately took Xiao Ru to social gatherings, got her drunk, and sent her to Boss Luo. Xiao Ru screamed for help. Lu Meng was in the next room but had no intention of saving her. Xiao Ru cried for help in vain. Wei Lun, the driver, had sensed something was wrong that night. When he knocked on the door, he heard Xiao Ru's cries. Lu Meng forced him to leave. After Boss Luo left, Xiao Ru walked out in a daze. Looking seedy, she confronted Lu Meng, asking why she didn't help. She dismissed Xiao Ru's suffering, saying, "What's done is done. You need to figure out how to deal with it." Wei Lun waited until Xiao Ru finally came out. He drove her home and advised her to go to the police, but she refused. She needed the job because her father was deep in debt. Her father constantly harassed her for money, leaving her with no choice but to endure. Lu Meng often took Xiao Ru to work, making her wear the same outfits. This way, Lu Meng could switch places whenever she didn't feel like working. Lu Meng deliberately provoked Xiao Ru, trying to defend Xiao Ru. Wei Lun was distracted and crashed the car. Xiao Ru quickly pulled him from the wreck, then turned to help Lu Meng, only to see shards of glass embedded in her throat. Xiao Ru wanted to check on Wei Lun first, but Lu Meng called him just a worthless life and ordered her to stay by her side instead. That was the breaking point for Xiaoru. Years of humiliation boiled over, and in a fit of rage, she eliminated Lu Meng and dumped her body in the river. When Xiaoru woke up, she found herself in the hospital. The assistant mistook her for Lu Meng and stayed by her side, taking care of her. Xiaoru's injuries weren't severe. After some thought, she decided to embrace the mistaken identity and become Lu Meng. After being discharged, she moved into Lu Meng's home, practiced copying Lu Meng's signature, and gradually turned herself into Lu Meng. The only thing that could expose her was a red birthmark on her neck. In the beginning, she covered it with makeup, but over time, she stopped caring. One day, on set, a strange man greeted her. She didn't recognize him but smiled politely. Later, the man entered her dressing room and threatened her with a sealed envelope, telling her to meet him at a designated location if she wanted to know his secret. Terrified, Xiaoru obeyed. She was assaulted again, only to later realize that the man had only managed to capture blurry photos of Lu Meng with wealthy businessmen. However, he had also discovered her real secret, her birthmark. This time, Xiaoru was truly afraid. To keep him quiet, she willingly gave him money. At first, she could afford it, but he soon became greedy, demanding more and more, treating her like a personal ATM. Xiaoru finally decided to eliminate him. She went to his house and drugged his drink. But he was prepared. She was no match for him. Just as she was about to be overpowered, Wei Lun arrived in time and saved her. Wei Lun had witnessed Xiaoru killing Lu Meng. He never said a word and never would. He only wanted to stay by her side. To prove his loyalty, he eliminated the man threatening her. One day, she was filming a scene where a stand-in murders the lead actress. The plot mirrored her real-life crime. The emotional weight of the scene triggered her trauma. At home, she began hallucinating. She saw Lu Meng taunting her, whispering cruel words. In a frenzy, Xiaoru grabbed a pair of scissors and stabbed Lu Meng, only to realize she had been stabbing herself. Wei Lun arrived just in time and took her to the emergency room. Alai now understood the truth. Wei Lun was an accomplice. The next step was to find solid evidence. Alai saw a newspaper article about Lu Meng collaborating with actor Wang Kei. Remembering the story from the comic, he rushed to the woods and dug up Wang Kei's body. He summoned Wei Lun for questioning. During the interrogation, a Jia suddenly entered the room, holding a box of gold bars. He accused Alai of accepting bribes, claiming that Wei Lun had bribed him in exchange for clearing his name. To Alai's shock, Wei Lun admitted it. This was Jia's plan all along. He had instructed Xiao Jiao to keep an eye on Alao. Xiao Jiao found a letter on Alai's desk containing photos of waterbirds. They used the location from the photos to find the hidden gold bars. Setting Alai up, Jia's goal was to secure a promotion to police chief, and Alai was his strongest rival. Eliminating him was the only way to win. Meanwhile, Luna woke up in the hospital with no memory of how she got there. Even who she was. Alai visited her, and the doctor recommended electroshock therapy. Instead, he decided to take her home. At Alai's home, Luna demanded to see his police badge. But since he was suspended, it had been confiscated. To prove his identity, he showed her his police academy diploma. He explained that her comics were linked to real-life cases and that his suspension was connected to her as well. Xiao Jiao had been eavesdropping, sensed something suspicious and quickly reported back to Jia. Alai asked Luna to recall what she had drawn in her comics, but she couldn't remember. Hungry, she asked for food, and Alai made her noodles. While eating, he absent-mindedly played with a lighter. The clicking sound triggered a sudden vision in Luna's mind. She saw the face of a man she didn't recognize. She quickly sketched it but had no idea why. Just then, the building's caretaker knocked on the door. He reported that a man had been found sitting in the storage room, banging his head against a cabinet in a daze. Luna and Alai went to check. And to her shock, the man was the same one she had just drawn. She also discovers the hotel address engraved on his necklace. Before leaving, Alai asked Luna to bring her comic notebooks. She brought them all but left the portrait behind. After they left, Jia and Xiao Jiao broke into Alai's home. Discovering the sketch, the caretaker also told them about the strange man in the storage room. Realizing Alai was onto something, they decided to follow him but lost his trail midway. Alai and Luna tracked him to the Old Friend Hotel. The caretaker had mentioned it was a newly opened hotel. Yet when they arrived, they found an abandoned building. Inside, Ali picked up a newspaper from the floor. Its date was 20 years in the future. At that moment, the man stood up, grabbed an axe, and lunged at Ali. Luna became his target as well. He screamed that if not for her, he wouldn't have gone to prison. Luna tried to run but tripped, dropping her notebook. The wind flipped its pages, and suddenly, new drawings appeared in the previously blank sections. The man's name was Da Bing. He and his father had both worked as servants at the Old Friend Hotel, staying in room 237. Da Bing's father was a harsh man who often beat him for making mistakes. One day, a guest falsely accused Da Bing of stealing a gold watch. His father forced him to strip in front of everyone to prove his innocence. Later, the missing watch was found in the guest's laundry. But instead of apologizing, the guest humiliated them further. That night, Da Bing's father gave him a cup of milk laced with sleeping pills. While Da Bing slept, his father snuck into the guest's room, slew him and stole the watch. Later, a co-worker taunted Da Bing about the incident, tricking him into drinking alcohol. His father, furious, dragged him back to room and beat him severely. That night, after drugging Da Bing once more, he killed the co-worker too. One day, Da Bing met a female guest named Man, who found his clumsy nature amusing. He was attracted to her beauty. However, his father noticed something unusual between them and warned Da Bing not to make friends so easily or trust others, as they were all insincere due to their different social statuses. At a party, Man begins to seduce Da Bing. Unable to resist, the two dance together in a closed room. As they are about to kiss, his father throws a bucket of cold water on them and drags him back to his room. Da Bing no longer wanted to be controlled by his father and began to rebel. The father's rudeness made the restaurant owner angry, and he immediately fired both father and son. Coincidentally, they ran into an old acquaintance who mentioned Da Bing's mother. It was only then that he realized his father had never spoken about his mother before. He kept pressing for answers, but his father gave him drugged milk. In his dreams, he saw his father harming his mother. The next day, Da Bing discovered that the acquaintance who had spoken to his father the day before had also been killed. Panicked, he decided to report the crime. He ran into Man and pulled her into a room to hide. However, his father eventually broke in and harmed Man. But in reality, it wasn't Da Bing's father who committed these crimes. After being humiliated by a guest, Da Bing became furious and wanted to leave the hotel. His father tried to stop him, and as they struggled on the street, they didn't notice an oncoming car. In a desperate attempt to save Da Bing, his father pushed him aside but ended up getting hit himself. This dramatic event triggered Da Bing's psychological breakdown, leading him to develop a split personality, one as himself and the other as his father. That year, the guest with the gold watch, his co-worker and Man were all harmed by Da Bing. The idea that Man liked him was just his imagination. She had merely been toying with him. Enraged, Da Bing tied her up, forced her to say she liked him and kiss him. Then, as for his mother, she had simply abandoned them and left. Da Bing sought revenge because the police officer who had arrested him years ago was Ali, and the person who had written the story that provided clues was Luna. Ali fought fiercely with Da Bing to save Luna. During the fight, the lighter fell to the ground, triggering Luna's memory. She had traveled 29 years into the past because of that lighter. Seizing the opportunity, she picked it up and ignited it. The moment the flame appeared, Da Bing screamed as if he were burning and then vanished. Luna and Ali were transported 20 years into the past to the Loyal Friend Hotel. There, they heard Man's cries for help. Luna urged Ali to save her. During the struggle, Da Bing took a little girl hostage. Ali calmed him down and, in a split second, managed to subdue him. Just as the other police officers arrived led by Ajah, Ali quickly pulled Luna away. The little girl noticed the lighter on the ground and picked it up, but Ali had already left too quickly for her to return it to him. That little girl was Luna herself. 20 years ago, back then, she had not yet adopted her pen name and was still called Manru. Luna and Ali returned home, and she finally revealed her true identity to him. She was from 20 years later in the future. She explained that the little girl he had saved at the hotel that afternoon was actually her. After he rescued her back then, she picked up his lighter. Later, she moved to the United States with her parents, where she studied fine arts and became a manga artist. After returning to the country, she used her connections at the police department to look into Ali's records. only to discover that he had been killed by an ex-convict while on duty. However, this incident was not related to the time she traveled back to save him. To honor Eli's memory, Luna combined her own recollections with newspaper articles to create a story about his solving cases. However, she had never written an ending because she couldn't bring herself to face his tragic fate. Eli was saddened to learn that this was how his life was supposed to end. She began reflecting on how she had traveled through time, confirming that it happened on the night of the Golden Moon convergence. She realized that the lighter was the key to this time portal. However, at this moment, he no longer had the key because she 20 years later had taken it. Still, she believed that his fate could change. He had originally been promoted to police chief because of the Lu Meng case, but now he had been suspended due to that same case. This meant that everything was still uncertain. Meanwhile, Luna's manga took on a new storyline. The protagonist's name is Mark. He worked as a delivery boy at a restaurant, living a tough life. His landlady constantly chased him for rent. One day, while making a delivery, he saw Zhang Yuan, the young master of a wealthy family, and his rich friends wasting food at a restaurant. Feeling it was a waste, Mark spoke up, which caught Zhang Yuan's attention. Zhang Yuan decided to start playing pranks on him. Lately, the restaurant had been receiving orders from an abandoned hospital. On Mark's first delivery there, he was frightened by a girl. She told him that strange noises often came from the hospital as if spirits were haunting the place. Mark found it creepy and left quickly. However, the hospital continued placing orders, and Mark had to keep delivering. One time, his package mysteriously disappeared. He sensed someone moving past him and ran away in fear. His boss suspected that Mark had stolen the food and hadn't returned the money. As he explained what had happened, another order from the hospital came in. This time, he came face to face with the female ghost and was so terrified that he fainted. While he was unconscious, Zhang Yuan and his friends arrived. It turned out they had orchestrated the entire prank. Worried that something serious might happen, they decided to take him to the hospital. But just as they were about to leave, the lights suddenly went out, and the doors slammed shut. They saw the silhouettes of a man and a woman. Then, a woman in a red dress appeared, scaring them all away. After Zhang Yuan and his friends ran off, Mark opened his eyes. His boss and landlady appeared. It turned out they had tricked Zhang Yuan in retaliation. Meanwhile, Eli and Luna arrived at the abandoned hospital. They heard the sound of crying and followed it to the morgue, where they found a disheveled young woman sobbing. When Luna asked for her name, she said she was Lan Xin and revealed that Zhang Yuan had assaulted her. Zhang Yuan was reported for sexual assault and was called in for questioning. However, the police hesitated to act against him because of his influential older brother. They only went through the motions, and he was quickly released. She had taken her own life in despair. Zhang Yuan was confronted by Lan Xin's mother, who tearfully demanded that he return her daughter's life. Luna and Eli saw the newspaper article and realized that events had already deviated from the storyline in her manga. They hurried back to figure out their next move. It turned out that Ajia had accepted a bribe from Zhang Yuan's older brother to protect Zhang Yuan. Determined to bring Zhang Yuan to justice, they started tracking his movements. Zhang Yuan frequently had his friends find attractive young women for him, whom he would lure to the abandoned hospital and assault. This time, they targeted a new victim. Just as they were about to attack her, reporters, who had been tipped off, arrived and captured Zhang Yuan's crimes on camera. At the same time, Ajia, who had received an anonymous letter, arrived with the police. With the media present, Ajia had no choice but to arrest Zhang Yuan, who was then sent to prison. Luna and Eli decided to investigate from the case of Lu Meng since that was when everything began to change. He recalled receiving a few photographs of waterbirds from someone named Yang Bo. He asked an old colleague to help track down his address. When Eli finally met him, he learned that the waterbird photos contained evidence of Xiaoru murdering Lu Meng. Yang Bo only noticed the anomaly after developing the photos, so he sent them to Eli. Following clues from the photos, Ale and Luna arrived at the location where the pictures were taken. The place had clearly been searched before, but they found an earring. If they could prove that the earring belonged to Lu Meng, it would confirm that she was already dead, exposing Xiaoru for assuming Lu Meng's identity. Luna searched Lu Meng's house and found a photo of her wearing the earring. As they reunited at the house's entrance, they returned home to discover that the door was unlocked. Inside, they found that the manga was missing. Xiao Zhao had stolen the manga and delivered it to Ajia. After reading it and comparing it with a newspaper from 20 years in the future, Ajia realized that Alai had been solving cases using the manga's insights. Luna went to the restaurant to retrieve the lighter from her younger self. There, she ran into her father. After explaining her reason for coming, her father handed over the lighter, saying he had just taken it from her younger self, fearing it was dangerous for a child to carry. Alai immediately sought out Chief Inspector Zhang and handed over the crucial evidence from the Lu Meng case. Eventually, Xiao Ru was set to be arrested once she regained consciousness. Meanwhile, Ajia orchestrated Da Bing's release from prison. Seeing Da Bing approaching, Luna suddenly recalled Alai's police file. Da Bing was the one who had assassinated him. Fortunately, this time, Alai was swift and well prepared. With Luna assisting, the police arrived just in time and shot Da Bing before arresting him. Luna hugged Alai tightly in fear. Later, they celebrated their victory at the restaurant, relieved that they were both safe. Knowing that the Golden Moon convergence lasted from that night until the next day, Alai urged her to leave, though he didn't want her to go. He worried about the consequences of her staying longer. Unwilling to part ways, she drank heavily. That night, he carried her home. As emotions surged, she confessed her love and kissed him. They spent a romantic night together. The next morning, Alai went out to buy breakfast and flowers. While he was gone, Ajia broke into the house and kidnapped Luna. He left a note for Alai, instructing him to meet at the warehouse. Ajia used Luna as leverage and revealed that he knew their secret. He demanded that Alai hand over the lighter. Ajia shot and injured Alai. Amid the gunfight, a fuel barrel was hit and caught fire. Just as Ajia gained the advance, Luna freed herself by burning through her ropes and rushed to help. She struck Ajia from behind, causing him to stumble backward, right as a crate fell from above, taking his life. Alai was gravely wounded. Luna retrieved the lighter, intending to take him back to her time, but it refused to ignite. As she struggled, the burning wooden beams above them began to collapse. Seeing this, Alai shielded her with his body. Luna woke up in her own time, lying in a hospital bed. It turned out that a chandelier had fallen on her during an earthquake, causing her injuries. After recovering, she completed and published her manga, which became a success. During a book signing event, she unexpectedly reunited with Alai once again. They both discussed the manga that Luna had created. To him, she was an excellent author, and she felt her heart flutter for him once again. This movie ends here. If you'd like to see more dramas like this, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and let us know in the comments how you liked this drama.